that's a triple play. New episodes, I couldn't wait. Yeah, open your mind at the first gate. Press play, no need to debate. AOA, check me out. Look, clocked in, you can catch the hype. Golden Dawn, how we follow the light. Anime like life, married to it, my wife.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages? Welcome back to the AOA show. I'm your host, as always, Ian, along with the boy Isaiah.
Oh, hi, all.
And today we're hitting you with some more blog posts, this time covering Tower of God Season 2, episodes 297 to 308. If you guys have not seen our live stream yet, you definitely want to go check that out on our AOA Reacts channel. So definitely subscribe to that channel. The link is in the description down below. And thank you to all the moderators who put together these lists for us to read and for you guys to enjoy. But without further ado, let's hop right into it. So, starting with chapter or episode 297. We have this beautiful picture of who I thought was the Traveler for a minute, but it's actually Jihad. And I'm like, no way. I'm like, stop. The Traveler is not the Traveler, but it's not. It's Jihad and the boy. Yeah. Kun Idan. But anyway, this one says, since this time of the year is good for convertibles and driving, I drew Data, Jihad, and Idan for taking a little break during driving. Since I mainly work indoors, I like to drive to a quiet place when I have some free time. Around this time is when it's really the best for driving with open windows. However, because of the dust in the air, I can't even hope to do that. Well, in return, I can now say I don't buy a convertible because of the fine dust, when in reality, I can't afford it. Anyway, let's keep it short for this week. Yeah, that whole fine dust problem, like every time he says it, I just get pissed off, just, you know, because I'm just like, that's so terrible that you're literally robbing someone of enjoying Earth. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's like, yeah, it's terrible. You know, it's like, if any gift is given to the human race or just animals, whatever, it's like to enjoy the beautiful things that the world has to offer just inherently. There's no good, there's no evil in that. It's just, it is. You know what I mean? And it's a beautiful thing. And for there to just be dust clogging your pores when you're just trying to breathe is like, just pisses me off to my core, dude. I get mad when I have to buy a beach badge to go to the fucking beach. You know what I mean? If I was just trying to drive my convertible and just, I'm like, ah, you know what I mean? As I'm driving, I'd be freaking furious, dude, at all times. That's awful what they're doing. Oh my God. Gets in my core. Anyway, Irure is still left with some unsolved conflicts. And the Data, which seems to be Mizuno's, looks like he has something he's waiting for. Kun and Rak are training hard. Yellow and Icarus seem to have some kind of conversation. It seems that Bomb got a new power, too. Anyway, I think it will be getting interesting. As for my personal story, my stress gastric relapse during this weekend. For anyone who doesn't know, that's inflammation of the stomach area, because why not just lump another thing onto this poor man? The period in between is getting shorter and shorter. Maybe this is quite a dangerous sign. Anyway, I will visit the hospital and become healthy again. Do you want to spoil it for him?
Yeah, I'm sorry, SIU. This ain't the
Not yet, but keep battling. Don't hang in there, all right? You're gonna get through this. Just might take a little longer than you thought. All right. So, thank you for coming today to read the postscript and reading my lacking webtoon. You stop that. I will try to see you again next week with an interesting webtoon. I made a joke about view count, that it would be good if I can have more of it, but many people took it seriously and gave me cheers, so I deleted it. This is something that I have to work for, and not something that can be solved by receiving cheerful comments from others. And I initially did not expect to have such a response. I'll try to take better care of my health and make better manhwa and raise the view counts. So SIU. So on the bright side, with the chapters that we read, the view counts definitely raised for these. So
true.
That's great.
Yeah.
As for his health, that's a different story. But I mean, I think the main pull away here is take care of your health before really anything else, because if you don't have your health, you don't have anything else. So you have to like, and this is seriously something I know if there are any creators that watch this show, and I know from us, and just I know for me personally, my personality would dictate the like work till you die kind of thing. But there are some times where it's like you gotta step back and take a break. You gotta eat right, you know, exercise, be mentally aware, meditate, do whatever you got to do to get your mind right. Sleep. Yeah, literally, that's a huge one. And it will pay dividends in the future. It's like when you break your back in, you know, to do things and then lack on all those other things, it's like it's like you're stepping over quarters to pick up nickels. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
really.
what it is. It's like what you're doing.
Because then the work you put out ends up being less quality because you're so drained and exhausted. So you're like, it's literally a self-fulfilling product. Like it doesn't help you.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. So keeping that in mind, but also not making that an excuse. You know, because if there's one thing SIU on the counter side, maybe goes the little extreme though, is that he's not trying to excuse himself or anything like that. And really, as an individual, how much you're putting out. Like, can I do better? And most of the time that answer is yes, because most people grossly overestimate how hard they work. But for people like this in the total opposite corner, it's like you just want to pull them away. But I guess that's the irony in it all, right? Is that the people that will never admit it or notice it are the people that need it the most, whereas the people that are willing to admit and notice that might be ready to do that too early when they could have had more in the tank. It's a weird thing. The world's weird. Anyway, Isaiah, go for it.
All right, chapter 298. Got this cool pic of the boys, the trio, looking at stars.
Sparkler.
The weather is the kind of weather that you describe as refreshing or cozy, although there are no stars in the tower's sky. When the light of the ceiling dims down, the ball lights start to twinkle. I was hoping that Raccoon Bam would light fireworks while the weather is refreshing, and I came up with this drawing. It feels a bit different since it's a ceiling, not the night sky. The episode featured the process of them getting to fight with Data Jihad. Coon seems to be more grown in many ways, so does Bam. Starting next week, they will finally get to fight with Data Jihad. Tower God is a work that shows the process of main characters meeting with their stronger opponents and overcoming such challenges. As a result, the main characters always continue to train and work hard, and look upward to climb higher. It's the kind of work in my mind. Because of that, they are frequently having a hard time. I want to see these characters getting stronger and stronger and be more complete. Of course, at some point, they will become immensely strong, and it will make them charming in another way. Anyway, I think Bam will be closer to himself after this. In his battle with Data Jihad, Bam has a slim chance of winning, but I hope you'll look forward to the process and the result. As the spring comes and goes, many things happen in between, and many thoughts pass my mind, my head as well. Every week, I try to meet you again with the best of my work, but sometimes it does not happen as I wish. Coming up with exciting manhwa every week is my job, goal, and satisfaction. If the readers are not satisfied by it, I too cannot be satisfied. So I spend much more time thinking about interesting manhwa than others might think. Once my head cools down a bit, I hope that I feel lighter with my body too. So please look forward to the battle that will be starting next week, and take care of yourself both physically and mentally when the season is changing.
Season changes? Brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially for him.
Yeah, right? Some more than others.
Yeah.
All right. Episode 299, we got this dope pic of Jihad with what seems to be his inner demon in the shadow here, I guess. I don't know. It looks dope.
Yeah,
so
something.
Anyway, as expected, he is very diligently beating Bomb up. Since there are a lot of battle scenes, I think it would be better to just read it and understand it rather than having me explain it all, and I will not talk too much about the story today. To be honest, roughly half of the chapter was about Bomb getting beaten up. Still, he is trying to use a new orb and stuff, so let's just stick around and see what happens. Good luck, Bomb. Yellow is trying to break the scale, although I have a feeling that this side of the story would not be so popular. The protagonist can't be the only one getting the spotlight, and I have to make some plot progression as well, so I will try my best. When a battle begins, it can't be helped that the plot progression slows down a bit compared to the number of panels due to the amount of battle scenes. As for my personal business, although this should be getting tiring to hear since I say it every week, I'm sick. Even before I fully recovered from gastritis, I got rhinitis, which is more inflammation. Or no, that one's
It's in the nose.
that was nose, right? That was basically, that's a fancy way of saying you got a really bad stuffy nose, which sucks. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Terrible.
To have on top of a stomach ache.
Exactly. Yeah. Awful. But anyway, and had to visit a hospital for it. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Like, your nose is so bad that it's like you got to go to the hospital. Like, damn, dude. It's good that there are many hospitals nearby where I moved to. The symptoms were getting worse, so I had a difficult time with my daily life. But after taking the medicines, I'm feeling better. But it makes me worried that I'm taking too many medications these days. Is my immunity getting weaker? That's kind of a conundrum, right? But I am no doctor, so I'm not even going to try and tell you how that works.
I mean, I know that that's kind of like true because it's kind of how like vaccines work. It's like the idea if you expose your body to something so much, or some antibody or some medicine, that like eventually it sort of like adapts and learns to like get around that. And
which unfortunately also goes for these viruses, sicknesses, bacteria.
Sure, yeah.
They're like living things.
Yeah,
So,
right.
That's creepy to think about.
Very
Nightmare.
creepy.
Yeah, nightmares. Anyway, since I was talking about illness, there are diseases in the tower too. Depending on the house, they have diseases that are prone to or immune to, that they are prone to or immune to. For some houses, there exists some critical diseases that are hereditary. Iwa is immune to most of the diseases, but from time to time she gets a light cold. It suits her since she has a fire quality. Additionally, Kun still can catch a cold despite having ice quality. Regardless, members of the 10 great families usually do not become seriously ill. It just seems like a cold. That's about it. Oh, I could live with that. They do not even need medication. By the way, there is no cancer in the tower. Thank God for that. But there are cases like a person develops an allergic reaction to Shinsu as they get older. That sucks. And the cells start to function improperly due to it, which is quite similar to cancer. See what you did there. The fact that the chance of one getting it becomes higher when the person does a poor job at managing their own health is also similar. If someone dies of old age in the tower, this is usually the case. Anyway, please look forward to Bomb and Data Jihad's battle, which will be continued in the next episode, and to our Kun, Rachel, and Urik's story as well. SIU. Shinsu cancer. It's terrible.
And it's funny to think about too, because like Shinsu is like not, it's a natural force, but it's not something that like the people that live in the tower were natively like exposed to, right? Because these are all people, they're descendants, I guess, in a way, of the people who came originally to the tower who aren't from the tower.
Yeah.
So in a weird way, it's like, it kind of makes sense, because it's like these people, their bodies are exposed to this unknown element for so long that eventually they get old enough and their body.
That is interesting. I also wonder if those same people then, if they were to come over under that illness when they beat the tower, if they could just intentionally go back down to like the lowest floor, because the concentration of Shinsu seems to be lower, at least from Lero Ro's perspective. He's like, when it's 30 and up, you're gonna have to deal. I don't know if he meant just in the tests that would be the thing, or if like literally just being on the floors, like you have to tolerate this much. If that were the case, then it's a lowlier existence, but it's like, Han Sung makes well, on like floor 1.
He drinks coffee.
Yeah, like he's fine, It's like if you're that much of a badass, it's like you can make your own lodging there. Like it's all good. You're not going to have like the heated seats and like the hot tub, but like you get your coffee maker, you get a nice condo. Yeah. So I mean, it's doable. It's either that or you die. So I mean, I don't know. I'm going with the former there, but anyway.
Facts. All right, chapter 300. Picture the boy Bam. Dude, after these last couple chapters, bro, Bam went from like kind of cool to like I would literally let that boy. Chapter 300. The drawing for today's postscript is the orb that has gotten brighter and Bam's companions who are cheerful of the bright light. It looks like they're having fun. I hope it'll become even brighter. Anyway, finally season 2 reached chapter 300. This week's chapters center more on Team Kun than Jihad. I expect many people to complain about how long the explanation is. In fact, I thought so too. This episode relied too heavily on the text to explain the situation. That's something we said, but like I was like, to be fair, it's like so much info that you kind of just have to like roll with the punch, I feel like, but it to each his own. I had thought of an alternative, but it would make the explanation even longer, which would postpone Data Jihad and Bam's battle for 2 to 3 episodes. Because of that, I took the risk and went in this direction. In short, I still have a long way to go as an author. I have to improve myself. You're fine. You're doing good. He's a good kid.
He's a good kid.
Yellow's story is the essence of the story of the Data world. The difference between Data and humans. Yellow, who wants to become a human, etc. Compared to that, Data Jihad's side is closer to the Tower of God's main story. I think of this episode as an episode that can foreshadow the future Jihad through Data Jihad. The battle between Data Jihad and Bam can also be seen as the clashing of the past and the present. Did I go too far? It feels like we've finally gotten close to Bam's growth that we've been waiting for. If you look at it, somehow the Hell Train itself is related to Bam's inner and outer growth. So I believe this episode will be the first of the end of Bam's growth phase. That it was.
All right. Episode 301, hitting up with Bomb yet again, because he has center stage this time around. So I felt like today's Bomb looked cool. So here's Bomb with his bang up, or his bangs up. To be honest, I think a bit more messy hair suits Bomb better. I agree. I like his hairstyle. But anyway, side note, Gavin.
It's too long.
Anyway, I tried to raise the tension in the battle. It feels like Bomb is finally discovering something that is unique to him. There was always a part of the story portraying Bomb's growth during the Helltrain arc, so I think the period to end this all will begin now. I was planning to make him go over his identity crisis, and then after all that time, make him stronger, and the moment he finds the answer. But the way to present it, or the method of doing it, was quite difficult. Establishing the relationship between strength equals self-identity was quite harder than I thought. You can say that there is an existing correlation between the journey to find one's own self and the combat strength. Of course, portraying that as naturally as possible was my duty as the author, so I tried to put some foreshadowing here and there and continued making the plot progression. And here I am now. Indeed, I still have many areas to work on, but I hoped that you enjoyed this episode. I did thoroughly. Now that Bomb is awakened with his ability, maybe he can finally fight even with Data Jihad. Maybe. There's still much more stuff to entertain you, so I would hope for you to stay tuned for the next week as well. There will be new skills and stuff. Although this is unrelated to this week's episode, I got food poisoning and had to rest for 2 days while I was working on this week's chapter. LOL. Don't get sick like me. Take care of your health. That's a kind of tough one to avoid, like food poisoning.
Yeah.
Unless like you knew the food was just straight slop before you ate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
but it's like, I don't know many people. Well, I guess if you can't tell, maybe like some people who like see questionably colored or looking food and they're like, chicken, and just like eat it. But
it's true.
I guess
food poisoning sucks. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've had food poisoning once. Wouldn't wish that shit on my.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awful. So, anyway, don't get sick. And, all right, go for it.
Oh, I love this picture.
Yeah, it's great.
Chapter 302. Boy Bomb with his horns and shit. Oh. I drew Bomb with a bit of monochromatic color. The two horns represent the red Thresha and the blue Thresha power. You can understand it as Bomb turning some kind of power into his. Most of this week's episode consisted of the battle scenes like last week. So there's not so much for me to talk about in the postscript other than Bomb is getting super, super strong. I sometimes get questioned about how strong Bomb is right now, but I think a lot of it is I think it is a lot better for others to make a discussion about it and sometimes even fight over it based on what's shown rather than the author to define it. I agree, and without that, we'd kind of have no Tower God content, so good on you. Anyway, aside from Bam's current abilities, Bam's potential is abnormal in the first place, so I do expect to show more of Bam getting stronger and stronger. However, it'd be far-fetched to say Bam is stronger than the 10 family heads now.
Yeah, that'd be a bit. I just picture him where he's like, I love fights, and it's that Stewie scene where he breaks the pool thing in half and he goes, "You two, fight to the death," or whatever. He just I also like how he references the blue Thresha, which if I'm not mistaken, somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, he's never referred to it in the manhwa at this point in the story webtoon or in blog posts as the blue Thresha.
It's the kind of stuff that makes me wonder sometimes if these were meant to be read like after the fact or chapter by chapter.
I don't know.
Because I think, to my understanding anyway, they came out chapter by chapter. So nothing in here is supposed to be like, and obviously he's not going to spoil the story, but like that because they come out weekly, subsequent with the chapters at the time, that like nothing was supposed to be super spoilery in itself. So I guess what I'm getting at is him calling it the blue Thresha. If that confirms it, maybe that's not something he was trying to hide, so to speak, but he just like never brought it up in the manhwa, or maybe the characters in the manhwa don't know it yet.
Yeah, I found that to be interesting.
Very interesting, very interesting. Who knows? Since he keeps getting stronger, like last week, this week as well, Bam's strength is being shown as his skills are getting upgraded. So in that way, maybe some of you will feel this is uniquely interesting. Personally, among Bam's skills, I want to learn the blue orb the most. I'm not even good with those high rides in the amusement park, but still, sometimes I imagine myself flying over the sky. I think it'd be fun if I can have a flying technique. Of course, these days, it's quite possible to get shot down as well.
He just like brings us up.
Every time he's like,
us.
maybe we could smile. And you're like, oh. He's like, but frowning is what we should do.
Although the blue orb would be one of the sweetest abilities to have. Just
absolutely.
for practicality uses, Oh,
100%.
Be awesome. Just don't get shot out of the sky. Anyway, moving on to episode 303. It's that kind of weather. Summer, but still a little too cold for a t-shirt. I know the feeling. I hate that. There are probably others who feel too hot even at night now, but I am strangely prone to the transition between seasons. I easily catch a cold if I let my guard down for just a moment. Maybe I already got one. Never let your guard down. Never blink.
They're already here.
Drink germs. Drink orange juice. Do something. Oh, man. Anyway, the battle with Jihad is almost reaching its climax. Bomb still does not have full control over his skills, but a little by little, he is getting better at it. The battle between Bomb and Data Jihad. How can I put it? It feels like this episode is Bomb fighting a boss that is far above his level and farming XP for it. Yep.
Facts.
For Rachel and Kuhn's side, it was hard to show their side in detail because of Bomb's side, but Rachel finally achieved something. We don't want to clap for that, no, right? Okay. Personally, I wanted her expression to show that even if the outside changes, the inside still remains the same. Now it has become difficult to guess what's going to happen with this side as well. Yeah.
It's a good prank, SIU. It's a good prank.
Lastly, maybe Bomb learned only bad things from Hots. He did harakiri. That is the basically honorable or
samurai
not so
death.
honorable. Yeah,
the suicide because you were dishonorable, or the honorable thing to do because you were being dishonorable.
I don't. It's like I just picture a Japanese person looking at us like, that's hilarious. That's fucking hilarious. You know what I mean? I feel like so ignorant. But no, it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like in order to go out honorably because you did something unhonorable, or something along
that's
those lines.
the way to atone for the sin.
Mm-hmm.
It's referencing because Bam's the thorn thing.
Yeah, exactly. If Marines have stim packs and the UFC fighters have doping, then Bomb has the thorn. Maybe he will return as the real burnt Bomb chestnut. Yeah, he's just like, it was pretty cool. Anyway, let's wait for next week if you want to know the result of doping. Anyway, please take care of your health when the season is shifting. For me, well, nowadays, I sometimes feel lost and get sick. But for next week, I will do my best to return with burnt Bomb. There's a part of me wanting to do better, and another part of me just wanting to get some rest. What's important is not jealousy and stubbornness, but happiness and peace. But the path to reach that state feels so complicated. Regardless, I should try to do a good job. Diligently. SIU.
I think this man might be like immune compromised. I mean, obviously, like the insane stress put on him through producing the story is literally no help.
And
the fact that
it's totally stress.
It's just
like
crazy.
Whenever,
he's like always sick.
Yeah. When I know, just like from a side note, whenever I started, I still get mad from time to time, but when I started like trying to be more mindful of how stressed I was becoming and then trying to counteract that stress with like just breathing or meditation or just in general, just being like, okay, you're in no rush, dude. Like you're going through life, you're doing your thing here. Don't take everything so seriously, etc. I noticed just my health had been just so much better. Stress has a huge part to play in that for sure. It's like a mindset too, because if you think that you're going to be sick, there's like studies that they've done where it's like they'll take like a room full of people or they'll take like X amount of people and you go up to them and be like, wow, you look like shit. You know what I mean? Like there are like, I don't know what the exact numbers were, but there were roughly like half of those people that were totally fine, but then would start to exude symptoms of the sickness that you told them they had or what they perceived that they had. Yeah. Whereas the people that were like, no, I'm good, dude. Like we're totally fine. Yeah. So it's like really crazy what your mind can do and what stress does. It like rapidly ages you. Wow. So everyone chill out, Easier said than done. I know, meditate, but try.
Have some decaffeinated tea.
I'm telling you. Yeah, man.
Just chill.
Take that seriously because, but don't stress about it.
This isn't a joke, but don't freak out.
You're going to die, but don't worry about it.
Oh, man. Jeez. Chapter 304. Today's drawing is Data Jihad and Bam, who are fighting to their heart's content. Many things happened this week. My birthday was last week. Woo! Yeah.
Happy birthday, Frank.
Yeah, someone let us know when his birthday is. Thanks to everyone who celebrated it. I had some personal business to manage as well, and it feels good to have another week pass by and come back together with the work.
Real quick, that picture, does that say 2018 6 and then 6? Like 06 and then 6 again, or 0? Might be June 6th.
June 6th? Okay. That's good to know.
But he might have not drawn that on the same day of his birthday.
Oh, true.
So it might be within that
week.
Might
be the date this came out.
Yeah.
Or maybe the date the chapter came out.
We'll get to the bottom of this. All right.
All right. This week, Bam got OP. Now he's even throwing some burnt coal-like stuff. He still can't have full control over it, and there's a time limit to it as well. Just to clear up some confusion, I don't mean to you that he loses the power if he leaves a hidden floor, just in terms of the duration. Regardless, it sure is powerful. There will be more transcendental techniques involving the thorn. As Bam collects more of them, I wanted to make it more apparent the changes and thought it would be a good idea to make each thorn fragment more unique. But currently, Bam can't even handle one of them right now. I got questioned about how come Jihad and Eden have no problem flying but Bam can't. Well, technically, Eden and Jihad aren't flying either, but use Shinsu to make their bodies buoyant and retain it. They are definitely more skilled than Bam regarding Bam's blue orbs new form. I'm thinking of making them accelerate or somehow using them for attacks rather than merely helping Bam float. That was actually something that Joe cleared up for us, that initially I thought that like the black wings were, they were just literal wings and he would like use them to fly, but he's actually still using the blue orb technique. It's just he now has basically two smaller ones that literally work to float, lift the wings up.
Yeah.
And that's what lets him fly.
So it's not a matter of him balancing with his feet on it and being confined to the board. It's really just the board propelling him forward and he can navigate and all that kind of stuff.
Which is crazy.
Cool upgrade, yeah.
The battle between Bam and Data Jihad is finally coming to its end. I wonder what kind of ending is waiting for them. It might be something unexpected for the readers, though. That it was.
Okay, episode 305. It's Giga Jihad. I drew kids watching the power of outside jihad. Actually, my enteritis
that was another sickness.
Inflammation thing. Relapsed a few days ago, so even now I am fighting with my stomach ache as I am writing this postscript. Gastritis and enteritis.
Yeah, it's a weird word.
Enteritis
yeah.
are taking turns to make me suffer, and it's making me suffer just trying to pronounce them. So let's get over that, please. It looks like the battle with Jihad is done now. Not so much of actually Data Jihad is a good guy after all, but more of actually Data Jihad is an adventure freak. Kind of ish. Rachel, this time again, was given a role of backstabbing, but compared to the past, she came off as a more bold villain. She has her own reason and was more active in her actions. Whether that's good or not, clearly she is changing. For various reasons, I assigned a lesser volume of the story to this side than I originally planned to, so it has become more difficult to make the plot progression sometimes. Still, I will try my best to end it well. The outside jihad, or rather the real jihad, made an appearance a little earlier than expected. How can I put it? It feels like the final boss has appeared in front of noobs. To be honest, it's just a part of the outside jihad's power that's been converted into data. So saying it's real isn't so accurate. By the setting, the 10 house heads are in fact tall and bulky, but this time I drew him even bigger. I hope you have felt Jihad's threatening power. We sure did.
Yes.
Anyway, the Tower of God has been one thing after another. Jihad after Data Jihad. Is it Bomb's destiny to suffer no matter how strong he gets? Is life suffering?
Oof. Or is it pain?
Answer? Yes.
All right, chapter 306. Today, I drew Jihad's alter ego. He was wearing long garments in the manuscript, so I was planning to make him wear a simple suit. But with a headshot, it doesn't make him look much. Different. The development this week actually was about the impact, not the plot. It looks like outside Jihad is incredibly strong. Well, it's nothing surprising. He's on a whole nother level from the Data Jihad based on his regular self. Since there is still a long path to climb, much of the difference is pretty much expected. There's a big gap between a regular and an ordinary ranker. Yura and Rachel's side of the story is becoming more and more chaotic and hellish. How it ended was pretty unfortunate. Personally, I think Yellow's story best represents the hidden floor. Bam's second thorn did not make a proper debut yet, but it seems that each thorn has a different ability or power. Maybe even the transcendental techniques will evolve. The weather's getting hotter, and there are so many mosquitoes coming to my window. Why can't the fine dust kill mosquitoes?
Because mosquitoes are mosquitoes. and
they're fucking
bugs are dicks.
Yeah,
Just
like
bottom
they
line.
all have that cockroach thing where they're like, nothing else will kill me. And you're like, all right,
Dust
then I'll
perfect.
kill you. And they're like, not before we kill you. And you're like, why? Why has life got to be like this? I go outside and I breathe in dust air. I go inside, the mosquitoes get inside, and then they eat me to death. The world is pain and misery.
Freaking mosquito. It's like, wow, my life sucks. You know what can make it worse? Mosquitoes. Like, literally, you just put mosquito. It's like how bacon makes everything better. Mosquitoes make everything worse.
Yep.
Awful.
I could just get tiny bites all over my body that itch to high heaven. Yeah, that would suck.
Mosquitoes. Damn, dude. I do think it's interesting, these thorn abilities, and I think it's going to be because there are 3 fragments or 4 in total.
3.
Okay. I think it's going to be like space, time, and something else. Because the first ability, do we really know what the first ability is besides I got really strong and there's a blue guy inside of me? Like there's really been no standout thing that it's like this is what this controls. Where I believe one of our questions in one of the videos, or they were saying like that's what he's saying. It's like I want him to. They're gonna have different powers or abilities.
Yeah, I kind of feel like you're right, but I don't know about the specific ones that you said. Like I think the first one is kind of just going to be like power.
Okay.
In the second one is going to be more about space, because I think this is going to give, and I'm really just going off the panels that we read where the second thorn seemed to activate and like literally teleported Bam out of there.
Yeah.
That it's going to allow him to teleport or move, like, you know, move great distances really quickly or something like that. And then maybe the third one will be like
the world.
Yeah,
the world though.
JoJo stand.
It's the world though.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the third one could be, but I do think I like this idea of like, oh, each fragment has like its own. Well, I guess that makes sense because if they all combine, if they're fragments, the whole thorn should be able to do them all, right?
Yeah, just thought it was interesting. So, episode 307,
Friday Night Fight Club.
Fight Night. Yeah, let's go. Since it's been a while since I saw them, I drew Yuri and Karaka. It's good to see them again after a long time. Looks like the hidden floor is summing up now. Whether Bomb can make his escape and keep his promise with Gustang are still uncertain to this point, though. This is great, this stare down. I kind of just love this beef, bro.
Yeah, I love this because it was completely one-sided in that Karaka provoked the fuck out of Yuri and literally could not have barked up a worse tree because she will not drop it. She won't stop until he's dead. He's like, I might have bitten off more.
No, but that's the thing is like I love how Karaka is there to meet her every time, and we've even established in these blog posts that he is weaker than her by all stretches of it. So it's like the balls on this guy.
Well, I mean, like
crazy.
bit off more than he can chew in the sense that like he didn't pick beef with somebody that's gonna be like, you know what, this isn't worth my time. Like Yuri won't let it go, so she's always gonna fuck with him every time she sees him, and like he might come into a scenario where he's like, I wasn't trying to do this fight again. Like, you know, it's like, oh, you barked up this tree.
Really,
dog.
I feel like he's the one that keeps on antagonizing her, which is the funny
really?
thing. Yeah, I feel like he keeps rolling up and be like, "What up, bitch?" You know what I mean? Like every time.
Really?
Like,
Because in the
she's
latest
like,
chapter,
let's go, you know?
she literally did that. She
she?
he was in the room and he was like, "Oh, Bam," or "Viola, you're here," and she was like, "Oh, it's you," and he was like, "Oh, fuck."
Yeah, you're right. Rock is like, "Guess we're doing this because it's just like I got to square up now. Like I didn't start this." It's just kind of hilarious.
No, it's great.
This episode was kind of an introduction / development turn Jihad versus Bam. I had a tough time making the story likable to all and keep the balance and flow under control. But I hope you guys will stay tuned until it's over. Due to what happened, maybe Bam and Jihad's relationship has become more ill-fated now. How can I put this? If it wasn't for their ill fate, which was planned from the very beginning, maybe Jihad in his boyhood and Bam would have gotten along pretty well. Just like how Wangnan understood and changed Bam when he was Viol. Edon and Jihad are actually working along more well than expected since last week. Regarding Wangnan, my initial plan was that he was going to meet face-to-face with Jihad. However, that would have disclosed some of the stories that have been saved for the future. Alternatively, I'm going to take a second here. Alternatively, I made him talk with the weapon first and seize it. Since it's Jihad who's behind the plan after all, the story would end up similar either way, I think. In my opinion, liking Wangnan requires you to look at the long-term plan. That doesn't mean what he sees today is the Excalibur. Around this time is when things other than the manuscript fill my head, but I'm not too sure. It's so It's not easy since I'm dealing with several other problems. These days, having a rest isn't easy. It's tough making the story public-friendly due to the grand scale. To be honest, some of the aspects under the Webtoon system are getting more difficult to cope with, and I'm having more concerns and trying to find a solution. Regardless, my goal is constantly making decent work. Perfection was never my aim anyway. I want to do a good job. It would have been better if I could stay healthy, but man, the number of my health concerns is only increasing. Good health is the best. Somehow, today's posting is getting long for no reason. Proceeds to make another paragraph. Since the World Cup is ongoing, I've been watching the national team's games. Sometimes it was fun, sometimes it was sad. Still, from watching the diligent players, I find myself getting encouraged. Since in foreign football games, there is no particular team that I am a fan of, I just watch it like, wow. But with the national team, I cheer them while watching and getting indulged into it. Personally, I'm very eager to draw a simple football manhwa when I'm taking a break, but Naver does not let me do it. So guys, for the hot summer season, I hope you can enjoy the hot World Cup along with the hot Tower of God. Cue the bikini montage.
Yeah. Princess Bikini Line.
Lights, camera. Oh man, there is something to be said about that though. Like, I don't know, I feel it sometimes. Not that I'm not a sports watcher at all, really. Maybe save the Super Bowl, and that's not even because it's the Super Bowl. It's because and Haikyuu, yeah, and anime. But like, I guess there is something cool when it is like the Olympics or the World Cup or something like that, being that it is, you know, you don't have to pick like the Buffalo Bills or the New England Patriots or whatever. It's like, this is just your country going at it. So it's like, I think we could all be in agreement.
Where are you from? Korea? Root for Korea.
Yeah, yeah.
Right,
it's like pretty cut and dry when you go.
Like you go to America and you're like, oh, what football team should I root for? And it's like, I don't know, pick one of 50. It's like, Chapter 308. Oh, who's that?
You're like, oh, what the fuck is that?
I just saw somebody in misery and somebody consoling that person, and I was like, oh.
I don't even know, dude.
I think it's Wangnan and maybe SIU. Because he likes to do that sometimes. He'll draw himself in the thing suffering or whatever.
Yeah.
Like always, this week is about wrapping up the episode and talking about the new episode. It looks like the power that enabled the cast to exit was from the weapon that Wangnan took, aka the Excalibur. Regarding how the weapon will influence the plot, you have to stick around a little bit longer. But Wangnan is somehow getting closer to becoming a key of something, slowly ripening. Wangnan is like a wine-like man. Due to the results, there will be a few variables in the future episodes of The Hidden Floor. Since Baum used the key to enter, he was able to bring items with him, including Hockney's paintings. The bracelet Rachel got this time will have a huge influence over the story after the Hell Train arc. You can say that the storyline afterwards is caused by this bracelet. Surely there is something about the bracelet if Jihad was obsessed over it. And about the word war at the end of the episode, it feels like the scale will get bigger, but I hope you can have the patience to see what's going to happen. Currently, there's a lot of foreshadowing and flows of the story right now, so I do feel that the need to scale it up. I do feel the need to scale it up to carry out the plot. Still, it won't suddenly just increase in size. Rather, I'm planning on having a few branches spread out and joined together with Bam at the center. It'll be actually tough doing that, but I'll do my best. And if it still doesn't work out, well. There's heavy rain today. Feels like the rain is coming. The rainy season is coming soon. Last week was a rough week for various reasons. I wasn't so sure I could finish the episode due to my personal business, but it was towards the end of the episode, so I felt like I shouldn't let my personal business obstruct me from doing the work. Anyway, I think I have to prepare for the new start. There will be rest soon, but I hope I can at least avoid the war. And then Mods, who worked on this blog post for this week, was 100% sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you, sorry.
So there you have it. These are the episodes, the chapters that we covered in our live stream. Definitely go check that out again if you haven't already. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the blog post discussion, the read through. These were some good ones.
They were.
So it's always nice to get a little more light shed on these, a little more knowledge given to us so we could be that much more enlightened when we go into the story next time, or just forget it all and just babble like a bunch of idiots like we normally do. But anyway, folks, that is our episode today. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you guys are liking this video, subscribing to the channel, hitting that notification bell, sharing with your friends, commenting your thoughts down below. What did you think of our discussion and these these blog posts. We want to hear it down there. Also, big shout out to our patrons, specifically our acolytes of anime. That is Stoic and Nathan. Couldn't do it without you guys. Love y'all and your beautiful faces. And this week's comment of the video comes from none other than Sorry.
Yes.
Isaiah, you want to read it?
So, Sorry's comment, the original question was, what was Kuhn's primary position? And that the answer is the light bearer. Her comment is, Kuhn Edon X Boro confirmed. LMAO, I will never view this any other way. That is a reference to the last Tower God blog post video where SIU made like a weird comment that like kind of made it sound like he was saying Edon and Boro's kids. Remember that?
Yeah.
And so we were like, oh my God, Boro and Edon are a thing now.
Yeah, they're children somehow. I just picture Boro with like a housemaid singing. He's just going around like Edon's just like lounging, you know. He's like, more grapes, dear. Okay. It's funny though.
Oh man.
Question
That's
for
hilarious.
this one. Have anything?
What is Yuri's position?
We already did that one. Yeah.
I literally, like, as I was saying that, I'm like, why does that sound familiar? Because we've literally already done it. What is Rack's position?
Love it. Questions aren't meant to be challenging, just to know that you watched the video. So if you made it till the end of this video, you'll know what that question is, and that way you'll know how to answer it. So answer it in the comments and then write your comment, and you might just end up on our next discussion video. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. We will catch you on the flip. Peace.
Peace.
Ninjas are samurais, blaze of the kunais. Find me in the leaf of the cloud, screaming out Bankai. We just some ghouls though, who like seeing parts fly.